So it is an error when men nowadays, they no longer go to enter into the church so that they can meet with God that can rewrite their story, God who can heal them, God who can break their bondages. But they go, yes, they go to church, but instead of entering into the church, they remain at the gate. And why are they remaining at the gate? They are remaining at the gate to ask for alms, to ask for, to beg from the people that are entering into the church. These are people that have believed that nowadays the alms, the begging, the money that they are getting from people that they are begging while entering into the church is more important than the God who is in the church inside. They believe that the alms, the money that they are receiving from these people that are begging, that money mean a lot to them. It is more important to them than God, because they have waited upon this God. They have trusted this God for a long period of time. They have been in pain. They have been in turmoils, tough times, and they have kept trusting in this God for years, for months, for days, and they have not seen this God coming to answer them. They have not seen a God coming to rescue them. And because when pain extend for a long time, when suffering, when pain extend, when pain stretches for a long period of time, even the man with the greatest faith, his faith can begin to reduce, can begin to go down, because pain, suffering, as a way of punishing or frustrating the efforts, the faith of somebody, the ardent belief that somebody is having. When you are going constantly through pain, through suffering, that kind of strength, that kind of hope that you kept having for a better future, as long as you are only going through a lot of pain, suffering, distress for a long period of time, at the end you might keep on holding onto the string. You might hold onto the grip so tight, but as time goes by, days are turning into months, months are turning into years. The faith that was so strong, you begin to lose the grip. You begin to grow weary. You begin to lose hope. That is the same thing that happens when men in our generation today, when they get to our churches and they do not meet with the God that they have been told, they have read, that can change their situations. When they go there with their pain, with their suffering, with their challenges, expecting to meet with that God, and that God to rewrite that narrative. And when they get there, that God in that church, or the God of the Bible, does not do what they have been told that God has been doing. That God that they have believed to be breaking yokes and barriers in the lives of people does not break in their lives. These people, even though they had believed in this God, they will slowly begin to lose the grip. And when they begin to lose the grip, they will seek for the best alternative. And the best alternative in this case would be money. It will be money. Why? Imagine somebody is suffering, somebody is lame. The same way, there's a man in the book of John chapter 3 from verse 1. He was born lame. The people have been carrying him into the church. They have walked from different churches, one church to the others, trying to seek for help, trying to seek for healing of their child, their son. But then, when they enter these churches, they do not receive the healing. They expected that when they enter into that church, God is so powerful that He is able to give that boy a new leg. But they have walked from one different church to another, expecting that a miracle would happen. But after a long period of time from walking from one church to another without seeing a result, these people will lose hope. They will give up. And when they give up, they will look for the best alternative. They will know that this of our child, fate has it that he will never walk again. but he has to leave because his only problem is only a lame man, but he's not deaf, he's not dumb, he is not mad, he is okay upstairs. This is a man that can reason for himself. This is a person that can have a family. So they won't allow the disability of him being a lame man to stop everything. That is the reason as to why they thought for the best of the next option. And the next option was to carry him to the temple gate. And there he be asking of alms from the people that were entering into the church. At least he is not going to waste his time. He is not going to waste his day, because at the end of the day, he is going to gather the amounts that he had asked from different people that were entering into the church. And when he puts them together, it will be a good amount of money that he can use to take care of himself. He can use to buy for himself personal items, food and other things. So logically, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense that one person decides not to get into the church, but instead stay outside the church to ask and beg people for money. Why? Because he understands that if he enters the church, he's only going to be taught there. The pastor is going to give him a lot of stories, but no result at the end of the day. If he went there because he does not have a job, if he went into the church because he wanted God to give him direction, he went into the church because he wanted God to open his door. But now he knows, he understands that when he gets into that church, he believes that that God that we always talk about in that church, that is so powerful, so able, so mighty, he has been believing him that he is going to do it in his life. He has been going to that church for years, but he has never seen that change. So this kind of a man, because of frustrations and the responsibilities that are on his hands, he will decide to remain outside the church. Why? Because he understands that with the money, he can take care of himself. With the money, he can answer to different challenges that he has in his life. So there is a problem. It is an error when in our generation today, people are perceiving the church as a place where people gather. And because they gather, other people are seeing them as a market. So they begin to come up with business ideas to sell to these people that are in the church. So in our current generation, man does not necessarily beg physically like the lame man was begging outside the church. But in our generation, people are begging in a way of business. I don't know if somebody's following me. So every Sunday morning or every Saturday morning, when people gather to get to the church, you will find men, hawkers, and other Vibandaski and all that, you know them. People are coming with the goods, the mobile food, and they are selling them to the people that are entering into the church. My first question is, why would they sell to these people? Does it mean that they themselves that are selling to these people, they do not want to get an encounter with the God that these people are going to encounter in that church? Does it mean that they are not interested with the God that these people are going to encounter in that church? Why would they decide to remain outside to sell to the people that are entering into the church? I thought that everybody, if it is a Sunday, if you are a person who worships on Sunday, you close everything. Even if you are in business, you close everything and you go to church to meet with God, to thank Him, to worship Him. Here is a generation that when Sunday morning comes, instead of a young man like me to he put on his clothes and prepare himself for the sermon, for the church, These are men that are nowadays thinking of business ideas to do with the people that are entering into the church. They think of hawking. What can we sell? The mobile food that we can sell to these people as they enter into the church. So this is the modern type of begging in our generation. You might call it business. I don't dispute the fact that it is business because a profit is being made somewhere. But going by the scripture that we are reading today, going by this scripture, the book of Acts of the Apostles, chapter 3, verse 1. Oh, sorry, I've been talking of John chapter 3, verse 1. I'm sorry. It is Acts chapter 3, verse 1, talking about Peter and John. Acts of the Apostle. Acts of the Apostle. I'm sorry for that. I beg your pardon. Acts of the Apostle, chapter 3, verse 1. So you realize that this man was being carried to go and beg in the temple. That is in their generation. In our generation today, people are not being carried to go and beg, but people are being carried to go and sell snacks, sell hawk. Those, you know them, the little mobile businesses that normally we do along our churches. You understand it. This is the first era in our generation today. It is an era. Somebody, I want you to understand that it is an era when men nowadays go to church and they remain at the gate of the church, waiting to sell for people that are entering into the church. It is an era. These people believe that money is money is more important than God. Money can answer their challenges, their circumstances that they are passing through in their daily lives better than how God, who is all able, who is all sufficient, can answer them.